Hello, everyone.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks,
Always great to have you back.
Always great to be here.
Breaking down the list. I have it right in front of me here.
I'm trying.
I know you're trying. So let's go through who you had on the up and who you had on the down. On the down.
That's right.
Blake Philippi.
Hot. Yep, Blake Philippi, hot. I feel like this state has been crying out for legislation that would make the Rhode Island Pension Fund more transparent to people who pay attention to how that money is invested, particularly retirees and taxpayers. We all know that the former treasurer, current governor, moved a lot of the investments into those opaque, risky investments called hedge funds, and they have not worked out. And to his credit, the current treasurer belatedly has moved to get out of those type of investments. Nevertheless, I still think that Representative Philippi is onto a great idea in trying to pass legislation to make the Rhode Island Pension Fund more transparent. So I give Representative Philippi all the kudos in the world for doing that. I know he's a Republican, but hopefully the Democrats in the legislature will listen to reason and pass this bill. This is probably the most important bill that I think has been proposed so far this session. So Blake Philippi is hot. Hot as a pistol.
Put him on the hot list.
That's right.
Well, we had the opportunity today. I actually spoke with Treasurer Seth Magaziner about his proposal, the MERS proposal, to get some of the local plans into the statewide system.
Okay.
And was asking him about that transparency question. Now, he countered that all of the fees are available online. Obviously, Blake Philippi does not agree with that. And
That's
as we have seen in years past, again, especially with the hedge funds, and he did mention by this summer was looking to have Rhode Island out of hedge funds. So,
okay, I like that. But
in the meantime, but someone, as you said, someone's got to hold them accountable and put forth that legislation to do so.
And Treasurer Magaziner will not be state treasurer forever. So just because he's been relatively transparent doesn't mean the next treasurer is going to be as transparent. So we need to codify this into law. And Treasurer Magaziner, if you're really in favor of transparency, why not support this bill? Why not get behind it? Why not codify it? There's no reason not to. So
that's as always, Russ Moore raises interesting
Treasurer
points.
Magaziner keeps this up. He's going to find himself on the not hot list next week. I'll tell you that right now.
So he's made the call to say, why not have bipartisan support behind this if the total goal is in fact transparency?
Come on, Treasurer.
Keep an eye out. Let's have Blake Philippi on. Let's see who's on the hot or not list next week.
That's right.
And financial. Let's talk another person in the finance world.
Sure.
Andy Posner.
Sure.
The Capital Good Fund.
Absolutely. Hot list. Mr. Posner is on the hot list this week because he's another person in a line of people that's come out and said, look, I've done what I've been able to do here in Rhode Island without subsidies from the Commerce Corporation. So why does Commerce have to give subsidies to other companies? So if he can do it, everyone should be able to do it. And there's no reason for the Commerce Corporation to continue trying to pick the winners and the losers. So I give Mr. Posner a lot of credit for having the courage to speak out.
He didn't speak out. We had that on Go Local this week. He's been a strong supporter of the governor's in the past. He just decided on this issue that he really wanted to raise the specter on it. We had him in this week. We talked about the Capital Good Fund. They actually just this week announced they've got $2 million in financing to date. Do you know they expanded to Delaware and to Florida?
I was not aware until.
Yes. And he's looking at other states as well, which he talked with us about when he came in, and just talked about the environment of predatory lending, payday lending, and what he's doing there. So, I mean, here's an example of a Rhode Island, a young Rhode Islander making waves, not only here, but around the country.
Sure,
I mean, this is what we're looking for from the state.
We need more people like Mr. Posner who do it on their own. They don't need the government. Imagine that.
So he's doing it. We're keeping an eye on him. It was great. If you want to check out that interview, you can do so on Go Local. Want to talk, continue along the business realm, Miriam Hospital.
Yeah, the Total Joint Center at Miriam Hospital received a really high designation from the organization that tracks these things. So I thought that was kind of a good thing to see one of our hospitals, get in the news for a positive reason. Sure, hip replacements and knee replacements, and they do an excellent job. So I wanted to give them kind of a hat tip.
Yeah, a hat tip to Miriam, and it was, I believe, knees and hips. Knees and hips, with the baby boomer population being what it is. I believe one of 3 gold seals for these joint centers in New England. So when folks are looking
they're one of 3. That's right.
They're one of 3, but great accolade to have. Great to have that if you have someone in your family or someone's looking for it, to know it's right here. So Miriam Hospital on the hot list.
It's not something you want to need, but it's still, if you do need it, that's the place to go.
That's one of the places to go. Let's switch over to a little politics right here.
All right.
You are supportive of Cranston Mayor Alan Fung's road safety plan, which was protested this
Sure,
week.
big time. It was protested big time. But I think the mayor has a point that you can't have people in the roadways, blocking the roadways, endangering themselves and endangering other motorists who may try to swerve to avoid them. I know that the ACLU has a different opinion. They think that it's chilling to the First Amendment. I don't see it that way. I respect the ACLU and what they do, but on this particular issue, I tend to disagree. I think it's a public safety issue, and I do. I give Mayor Fung credit for sticking to his guns and trying to make this a reality, trying to do what he believes to be is the right thing.
No, it is interesting because obviously he is in Cranston. We have seen this proposal in Providence. We actually saw John Flores down in Newport get behind it, but
Sure.
Providence and Newport, there hasn't been traction. It will be interesting to see, though, if and when Mayor Fung decides that he might want to run for a
Sure.
higher office, if this becomes a hot-button statewide issue. You saw a lot of folks turn out in Cranston in opposition. Folks who were there this week may or may not have been Cranston residents. This could be a bigger issue that folks galvanize behind as it gets to a statewide level.
It could be, and I think that the people that oppose it are very vocal, but I think that the mayor's got more people on his side than he's got against him on this particular issue.
We shall see again, hot-button issue here in Rhode Island.
Especially in Providence.
Especially in Providence. Going down the hot list, you put Larry Lucchino on the hot list.
It does seem like there's some momentum to get a new PawSox stadium built here in Rhode Island with taxpayer funds, and I know that, not to tease this, but I know that we're going to have
Dr. Charles Steinberg, president
next.
of the Pawtucket Red Sox.
Sure, and I'm sure he'll tell you all about it, but I did see where Mr. Lucchino went before the Follies, and he saw it, as I use the term, genuflected before the Providence Newspapers Guild, and I think that he got a lot of positive press out of that. And I also saw that he met with the Senate President this week, and I think that meeting went well, and we know the Senate President seems to be in favor of this. He is employed by the laborers union, so I think they would like to build a new stadium. So I see some momentum here. It all depends on how the governor feels about it.
That is true, obviously. The speaker, the governor, the new Senate president, as you mentioned, came and genuflected.
Sure.
But there's still a lot of opposition to any taxpayer subsidies or any state investment.
Sure.
I did see actually I keep tabs on all groups on Facebook, any side of the aisle, but one of the ones involved in the PawSox effort last time just changed their name. It was, PawSox opposed to the 195 stadium. You see it pop up in your Facebook feed. Now changed to opposed to any taxpayer subsidies.
Sure.
So clearly cognizant of what's moving forward. So, what do you think? Do you think that they'll be able to make a case for saying we do need some level of support, maybe not the level that they asked before, and where do you see the opposition fitting into this?
I think the opposition will be just as vehemently opposed to this as they were in the past, but I think there are going to be some people who do want to see a stadium built. And if they are successful, if they are able to make this happen, then I have some advice for the owners of the Superman building. Get yourself before the Follies next year and get some momentum so you can get that subsidy, get the taxpayers to pay for your building.
Have streets to their genuflecting.
Absolutely. That seems to be the way to go about it.
Well, we'll see again. We have Dr. Charles Steinberg coming on after you to ask him about that. They did just announce this afternoon the second class of the Hall of Fame for the Pawtucket Red Sox, which I will unveil when Dr. Steinberg comes out. So.
And we'll all be watching.
I'll be watching. On the sports front, we all know you're a big sports fan. You got the Celtics.
You got
the Celtics
to
on
put
there.
the Celtics on the hot list. I mean, as we speak right now, they're in first place. Nobody expected them to be in first place. I don't know how they're in first place. They don't seem to have enough talent to be in first place, yet they are, and I think it speaks to the coaching. I think Brad Stevens should be the unanimous selection for Coach of the Year in the NBA. I think that's a no-brainer at this point.
Okay, Celtics are red hot
That's
now.
right.
So let's go to the not hot list. I always like to start high and then come low.
Crash. That's right.
Cumulus Media and their stock performance.
Boy, that stock is really, really low. I mean, they're going to get delisted. I mean, last 2 days ago I checked, they were at like 33 cents a share. That's down 85% from where they were last year at this time. And it's a very sad thing because they do have a lot of talented people that work over there at stations like 630 WPRO or 99.7 FM, where they do the talk radio, and they have a great music station in Hot 106 that I listen to frequently. So there's a lot of good people that work over there, so I don't want to see them do poorly, but that stock price is not hot.
That is not hot.
And bankruptcy could be imminent, and no one likes that.
Yes, we are keeping eyes on that. Go Local writes extensively on the business of media, so
Sure.
if you haven't checked it out, you can check it out online. Let's go to politics. The recently resigned Department of Administration Director for the city, Robin Muxian.
Yeah, not hot.
A lot of controversy surrounding
A lot
this.
of controversy. It started off with the fact that she recommended an unqualified person to lead, to administrate the Board of Licenses. The council shot down that recommendation, rightfully so. And then the story got a little weirder today. And when I fired up my computer and went on to Go Local, I saw that a guy that I respect a lot, Dennis Tabella, was saying that, from the Defenders of Animals, was saying that she took action to have like 23 different animals put down when they didn't have to be.
So it was
Sure.
it was back in 2003, and Dennis had brought this to our attention. Now he's a big animal rights person, and I guess there was a shelter in Cranston that the city deemed needed to be shut down.
Sure.
Animal groups, I guess, apparently made aware of the situation, and that there were some hard to place animals, sort of those ones that have been at the shelter forever, and apparently had reached out to the administration in Cranston, had reached out to Robin and said, we will take the animals no one wants to take.
Sure.
And apparently he said that she was, that she told them she would call, did not call, euthanized a number of animals.
And that breaks my heart because I'm an animal lover.
This is...
And you are too.
Well, things happen in cities the way that they are, but the point, one of the interesting things that has happened here, one of the things Go Local reported this week is the City of Providence, the solicitor's office, sent a communication out to folks that there is a de facto gag order on the departure of this former director. And this happened in the Commerce Corporation when Betsy Wall was effectively fired after the tourism debacle. But we're talking about elected officials, essentially, council members, being told that they have a gag order, so to speak, on a department.
That's not right.
So Luisa Ponte, the council president, did make a comment that they are watching that closely and basically said to the same effect, if you want a gag order, it needs to be approved by the council first and foremost.
Right, no, it doesn't work like that.
So, here's an instance, again, Dennis had recalled this incident. We reached out to Robin, did not hear from her. But again, things happen within the realm of government, and one of the things this week was, I think, that issue more than anything of...
The transparency.
Can't speak ill of the departed.
Well, I mean... No, there should be transparency in government.
The mandating.
I don't go by that. I don't go by that decree.
Mandating that. So we did report that. Again, you can check that story out online on Go Local as well. I'm going down the list here, the hotter the not. So let's see who else is not hot. Oh, kind of just to the south of us, Manchester Power Plant.
Yeah, it was a little frightening that there was had to be shut down and there was traffic. I was actually driving through Providence Wednesday night, and I saw the traffic back up, and I said, gosh, that must have been a really severe accident. And then when I got home and I went on to Go Local again, I saw that what would happen was that there was a big problem at the Manchester plant.
So what had happened essentially was there was a lot of noise. It sounded like a jet engine. I was down there. I spoke with Paul Dowdy, the head of the Providence Firefighters Union. He said to the average layperson, it sounded like an explosion. He said, but the de facto definition was not in fact that, but it sounded like a jet airliner, shut down things. And one of the things we talked about, how lucky it was it didn't happen during rush hour. It was late at night. They were able to divert traffic at that point. They were able to contain it, but he said it was the biggest event of a leak that he has seen here in the state. Had the potential to be, as he said, very catastrophic. Kudos to coming in and being able to shut it down. But something I guess folks all around the country were keeping an eye on that because again,
a little frightening.
Could have
more than a little.
Luckily, they took care of it, but I know they'll clearly be taking a close look at everything around there, especially the construction taking place at South Street Power Station.
Please do.
I'm sure that, and we do know that they are now following that event. So let's go to who else is not hot this week. As we look outside the window at parking meters, you put, did you get a broken parking meter?
A friend of mine did. A friend of mine went to a parking meter, swiped the debit card, and then after the debit card was swiped, was told, this meter is not working, please use another one. However, when this friend looked at the charge online, it was a charge. So it was a double pay situation. I don't think that's very fair or nice. We're trying to get people into Providence. We're trying to get people to shop in Providence, to do business here, to go out to eat. Let's not, first of all, we shouldn't have parking meters anyway. We should be attracting people, not disincentivizing them from coming. But if we're going to have parking meters, let's fix the broken parking meters so that they don't have to pay twice.
There are a lot of times broken. I think everyone.
Has this happened to you?
This has happened to me.
Oh my gosh.
Before my time at Go Local. But there's a broken parking meter issue. I went to court to fight it.
This has happened to me.
Happening.
I have a lot of anger about this issue. Yeah, I couldn't hold it.
Rightfully so, right?
Sorry.
Molly O'Brien coming out here to tell us about
and
that.
Who can blame her, right? It's really frustrating.
Well, a lot of times what happens then, and
I feel her pain.
I feel her pain. I know the pain. Because what happens is then the driver then has to make the decision Do I pay it? Do I take time out of my day to go fight it? There's the opportunity cost of going down to traffic court, making your case. I was able to fight it very quickly, but the opportunity
we have good traffic court judges in Providence. That's true. However, this is really an inconvenience. Fix these broken parking meters. We don't expect too much, but we expect the parking meters to work here.
Okay.
And
Parking meters not hot. We've got two more items on the not hot list I want to hit before we take off.
Let's do it.
Former Finance Chair Senator DuPont. You had on the not hot list.
Yeah, sometimes it's not good to have your reach exceed your grasp, I wrote. Senator DuPont, he went for that brass ring. He tried to become Senate Majority Leader, but he just couldn't muster up the votes. So for his efforts, he was stripped off as Finance Chairman and kind of made into a backbencher in the Senate. So that's not good for him. That's not hot. Sorry, Senator DuPont, you're in the back.
The result is that. And we've seen it time and time again, to the victor go the spoils when someone tries to make the challenge. We saw it with Marcello on the House side.
Sure.
When after Fox had stepped down and Mattiello took the speakership. It just comes with the territory.
Sure. But I think Marcello had a little more to gain than Senator DuPont. I think.
You know, it's funny.
And more to lose. And Senator DuPont had more to lose.
I did see in social media in some places, folks started raising some eyebrows and saying, well, that's awful of them to do it. And my question is have they not been up at the State House?
Yeah, this is not the beanbag. Come on.
Not the beanbag.
Right, yeah. This is rough and tumble.
Not the beanbag, it's the rough and tumble.
That's right.
Okay, finally on the not hot list, you put President Trump for one particular reason. There's many reasons you can put him, I don't know, but you did
and I've done both, right? I've had him on the hot list, deservedly so in many instances. In this instance, I have him not hot. And it's not because he eats his steak well done, although I don't understand that. But the reason I've got him not hot this week is because he gutted environmental protections that were put there during the Obama era, obviously to protect the environment. I think that's a short-sighted move. I think it may benefit some certain industries in the short term, but I think in the long term it's going to be more harmful than good. It could do damage that is irreparable in the long run.
Okay, I think I've pretty much run through the entirety of the hot or not list.
Absolutely.
Big basketball weekend coming up?
Not really.
No.
Well, yeah, it's only the Final Four. After that, it's not much. No. Yes, I'm being sarcastic, obviously. Saturday night, big night, some big games, and I'm pulling for South Carolina now.
I was going to ask, who's your horse in the race?
I figured you would. I don't really have a horse in the race at this point, but I'm still going to watch it. I'm going to root for South Carolina.
Why South Carolina?
Underdog story, and I like the coach, and he's a colorful guy, so it should be interesting.
Now, where do you like to watch your basketball? I know I've asked you this. In, out. People have their preferences of.
I do both. See, sometimes I like it in the comfort of my own home, in front of my own TV, but then sometimes, especially when I don't really have a dog in the hunt, I like to go out and watch it in more of a social setting with more people because I don't have to focus as much. I'm not as intense.
Yes, I feel
same's true with football.
Fairly the same way as you. A little simpatico.
All right, I like that.
Russ Moore, thanks for coming in this week.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
See you
it.
next
We will
week.
see you same bat time, same bat channel. Russ Moore, Go Local columnist, breaking down the hot or not list that he wrote this week. You can catch out the list, or you can just watch how he explained who he put on the hot list and who he put on the not list this week. As he always does at the 4 o'clock hour in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. He is walking out the door.